Hello, hello. How's everybody doing this evening? Yeah, I like it. It's a good crowd. Look at this. After 2 years, we've got people back in the room. So what I would forewarn everybody in the room, we do have people attending through video, so be on your best behavior. I don't know what they can see, so let's make sure that they don't call you out on anything in the comments afterwards. But welcome to our Client Appreciation event for 2021. It's amazing how time flies, and it's literally, for a group this big, being together, being 2 years, but obviously over those 2 years, a lot has happened. So hopefully you're enjoying the food and continue to enjoy the food, continue to enjoy the drinks, and feel free to get up and go get more if you want it. So anyways, it's such a pleasure for the Cornerstone team to be able to have you guys tonight, and really understanding the trust that all of you guys have in us is what is the most important to us, right? Every day we show up to work and know that we're doing something for you. And so tonight is to recognize you, and hopefully you have a good evening, especially with the guest of honor that we have tonight. We are extremely excited to have her with us. I'm not up here to introduce her, so I'll let Bo, who is going to be our MC for the night, do that for me, and we're going to have a good time. So with that said, when you look at it, not only the trust that you put in us, but also the trust of referring your friends and family to us is the greatest compliment that we get from being able to help out people that we know you love. And so we want to thank you for our referrals. Once again, tonight's your night. We're here to celebrate our relationship as a team with you. So since it's been so long, I want to introduce the team members that are here, and so we've added a few new team members over the last 2 years. The first team member we added is the nice looking, good haircut, bald dude in the back, Joel Oakey. He's got a great haircut, by the way. We've known Joel for years, and many of you recognize him from our Waddell and Reed days, and so he's actually our neighbor as well, so we've had a great relationship with Joel, and happy he joined us about, 18 months ago or so. He picked a perfect timing, pandemic, right? And then from Joel, we added Cameron Birch, which is over there in the blue shirt. Cameron, once again, if you can't see the theme here, Cameron actually used to work with Waddell and Reed as well, so I've known him for years. We actually went to high school together, so have a great relationship, and he is definitely helping with a lot of client interactions and everything. And then the last individual we added was our photographer, Anna. So if you haven't met those three, feel free to approach them tonight and get to know them, because at Cornerstone, we do a team approach. It doesn't matter who you talk to, whether it be one of the advisors or one of the other team members, any one of us can help you in trying to achieve whatever it may be that you're looking for. So wanted to assure you of that. And so the rest of the team, we got Matt back there. Then we've got his mom, or Matt's office manager, right next to him, Lynette. Then next to Joel is Katie. Bo Ruff, who's going to be up here shortly, is over there. We got Joelle Neese back there. She was trying to hide from me. Sorry, the lights are bright. And who else am I missing? There we go, Nicole. I was wondering where you were at. Nicole, right there. And actually, let's give Nicole a big hand. She's the one that really headed this thing up. and did a lot of the legwork. So thank you, Nicole. We have Melissa back at our office where she's helping with possible problems with the virtual meeting. So she's manning the phone, so wanted to give her a shout out as well. So I didn't miss any team members, did I? Okay, I got them all. So we've grown to a team of 11, and so once again, feel free to talk to any of us, and those that you haven't met, feel free to approach and get to know tonight. So that leads me to the thanking the sponsors, and I'm going to go through this a little bit quick because there's numerous of them. And the sponsors come in the form of our strategic partners. And what is a strategic partner? A strategic partner is somebody that we talk to on a frequent basis to gain perspective on what their firm's thoughts are, their different management teams, research departments across the country, and to be able to formulate what we're doing for you. Now, we take tidbits from all of them, but they also come to events. They're the suits in the back, if you can't tell. But they also help sponsor these type of events. So we really appreciate their support. And so I'm going to read it off. Let's hold the applause until the end so I can get through it. We've got Alger, Columbia Threadneedle, Lord Abbott, Putnam, MFS, Natixis, Amundi Asset Management, BNY Mellon, PGM or PGIM Investments, which is Prudential, Nuveen, and Transamerica. So let's give them a hand. All right, even though I know you all came here to see me talk tonight, to be the celebrity speaker, but I think we have somebody here with us that is much more suited to do so. So I'm going to invite Bo Ruff, who's going to be our own Cornerstone MC, and the star of the night, Jackie Joyner-Kersee.
Okay, well, everyone, thank you so much for coming. We are in the presence of greatness here with Jackie Joyner-Kersee. We're so excited to have her. I like that applause. When Weiser was like, oh, and Bo Ruff, it was like, and then Jackie Joyner-Kersee, and it's like, whoa, and rightly so, that's fair. So, yes, Jackie Joyner-Kersee, she needs no introduction. I'll give her a little one, though. Jackie had a profound impact on sports. She is a 6-time Olympic medalist, 3 gold, 2 bronze, 1 silver. And to this day, she holds the world record for from 1988 for the heptathlon. She did all that with asthma, by the way. In addition to all her success in sports, she's also a philanthropist. She has established the Jackie Joyner-Kersee Foundation as well. So again, Jackie, thank you so much for being here. We are so lucky to have you. And I want to start with one super important question. You've been called the greatest athlete of all time. Sports Illustrated said you're the greatest female athlete of the 20th century. Do you consider yourself the greatest athlete?
Well, first of all, thank you all, and wonderful to see all your faces. And, you know, it's not that I consider myself that. I was blessed, worked with some wonderful people who saw the potential in me that I did not know that I had, and all I had to do was execute as I was prepared and ready to go. And accolades come along with it, but I keep everything in perspective because I know there's going to be someone else. But Jackie Joyner-Kersee will always remain the same. So.
Someone else eventually, but.
That's okay.
Oh, thanks. Sorry, my mic just turned off. I said someone else eventually, but since 1988, no one else is coming close. So I want to go back to when you were a kid. So you started running at a young age, and your brother is Al Joyner, right?
Yes.
He's a gold medalist, and was married to Flo Jo, right? That was your sister-in-law. So he's older than you. Did his experience, did he kind of inspire you to start running from a young age?
Well, everybody wanted to believe that, but no. I inspired him. Because I was involved in athletics. My brother really didn't believe in practicing, and so he would always tease me about going to practice every day. And one time he was telling his friends about how, she practiced every day and I could still beat her, and I'm like, okay. So we set up a match race it was like the mailbox, from the stop sign to the mailbox. So his friends on one side, my sisters and my next door neighbors on the other side, and I won. And so, and I reminded him, see, that's what practice would do for you.
Yeah. So you had some talent from a young age, probably. What was it like for your first competitive race then? Were you able to dominate at that time as well?
In all honesty, I started running at the age of 9. I wasn't one of the best girls. I wanted to be good. I showed up every day, and I went to my first competition, and I finished last in the 400 meters. But it wasn't where I finished. I really said to myself, if I can improve a tenth of a second, if I was running, a half of an inch if I was jumping, that meant the work that we were doing was paying off. And so I realized that 4th through 9th get all different color ribbons, and 1, 2, 3 is getting hardware. So I was like, I like all these ribbons, but I got to figure out how I can be in the top 3. And so I just slowly continued to love what I was doing and found myself being in the top 3, not knowing that would make national teams and then eventually Olympic teams.
I don't know. I swear it's a technology issue that it's not me. It's not me. I've had, almost 2 years of pandemic. I'm pretty good with technology nowadays. Jackie, what inspired you? What led you to creating your foundation back in the late 1980s, I think it was?
Yes. So as you're coming through like Boys and Girls Club programming, and you don't realize as a youngster that people are volunteering their time, so when I was running, and the coaches and at that time parents would be called chaperones, and so I just knew that they made it possible, not only for me, but for a lot of us, and learning to work with librarian at the library in the community center, learn how to check out books, work with the Meals on Wheels programs, working with your seniors, and who became a part of my extended family. And that community center, it was really being built in our community, and we didn't really know what it was going to be. We thought it was going to be a skating rink because it had a dome, and it was just something we hadn't seen before. And it wasn't until probably I go out to school to UCLA, and unexpectedly I lose my mother, to the worst form of meningitis, and I travel back home to try to find so much love, and so people can get me out of that feeling of just being somewhat lost. And I went to the community center and was greeted with padlocks on the door, and so at the age of 18, I just started thinking, where do the young people go? And I thought maybe I could reopen that center, and not knowing that you need resources to do that. And so I was like, okay, I got a scholarship, and I got a place I can live in my dorm room. But the thought was always there. And so it wasn't until, 7 years later, after I make my second Olympic team, and I just said I didn't need a building to help people. So through my sponsorship monies that I would donate to the different programs I had been involved with my church and the schools, and then just a lot of summer programs, because a lot of funding is just not there.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit about what your foundation does.
So the Jackie Joyner-Kersee Foundation, we have a center. We opened in 2000, and we sit on about 44 acres. We do door-to-door transportation.
They're in East St. Louis, right?
East St. Louis.
Yeah, okay.
And we do door-to-door transportation. We pick our students up from school, bring them into the center. They go through, have a curriculum that's developed off my autobiography called Winning in Life. They go through these 14 different principles. We have STEM. We try to, I say, expose them to things they don't know they need to be exposed to, trying to make sure that each and every one of them can read at grade level. And we do our enrichment. We have our athletics. We use sports as a hook to get them in the door. And so in 2015, we built an additional 20,000 square feet to the building, and had a partnership with Head Start. And with COVID last year, we were helping as a supplement to the school. We opened up for virtual learning, and we were delivering meals, and then just making sure that we continue on the course of the work that we were trying to do. And right after, I think, Labor Day, school, we started a JJK Academy. So right now we're working with kindergarten and first grade, so that we could help. And we saw once they were leaving Head Start, and by the time they were getting into second grade, they were falling off. So we just wanted to see what could we do as a community center to continue to support our families and that's in the community. And so a lot of the parents, we put them through financial literacy. They go through a financial literacy program, because we're in an area where there's a lot of unbanked, and trying to introduce them to the banking system and starting a college fund for the students. And so really, that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, really doing a lot to improve the quality of lives for adults and children. Yeah. Well, thank you for all you do. So I've always wondered, when you are an Olympian and you are training for the Olympics and working towards the Olympics, do you work another job, or is that kind of your full-time job when you're training for the Olympics? I mean, it's a lot of work to train, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, you do need a job. And so in '88, I was able to, several of us who was on the Olympic team together, they used to have this Olympic job program. And so we were able to work 4 hours a day, and that made a difference in the training. And for me, I do the multi-events, the run, jump, throw, 7 different events. And so my training is designed like the scheduling of my competition. So I'm usually on the track from 7 in the morning, probably to 7 in the evening, along with the breaks, just so I can go through mentally the things I need to go through to also prepare for the different events.
Yeah, wow. One of the interesting things to me is that oftentimes athletes are seen as performers or entertainers, and people are dismissive of their health. And I was wondering what you thought about athletes like Naomi Osaka or Simone Biles, who have prioritized their own mental health.
I think that is admirable of them, and to speak up, because a lot of people think athletes are invincible. We go through things just like everyone else. And even though through training, you know, things happen, you know, and I know my first Olympic Games in '84, I was picked to win the gold medal, but I had never been injured before, and because I had an injury and my leg was bandaged, psychologically, I didn't believe I was ready, you know, and so I went through the 2-day competition focusing on something that I shouldn't have been focusing on, and that was the leg instead of, I always say, thinking like a champion. But I do think that in this day and time, you know, with social media, that the athletes are able to narrate their own story, be able to put it out there and just let people know what they're going through, you know, because back in the day when I was training, we thought that if you told somebody you were seeing a psychiatrist, people were like, oh, you weak, you know, something wrong with you, you know, it's just a stigma associated with it. But there were times where we needed someone else to talk to, and no one would stand in judgment and make you feel bad because you were already in the shell, and to be able to come out of that shell and to see them doing this, I just think it's admirable and remarkable.
So since you started with the Olympics, what other kinds of changes have you noted back from the 80s until today in how the Olympics is run, or what's different in the Olympics now?
What's different? I would say from the appreciation of female athletes being able to compete at the highest level, you know, team sports being more recognized. But when it comes to the technology or the training, I remember when I would train, like if I was traveling, like traveling here today, and I had a training that I was missing, that I would go to the hardware store and buy surgical tubing and then just do the bands now that people are using all over the world now. You know? So I could just work on my hamstring and my flexibility, and a lot of this wasn't available to you. But and I just think that a lot of the science behind athletics, and you know, we always would measure. I knew I had a perfect 2-meter stride length, and trying to negotiate hurdles, had to try to get that stride down to 1.98, so I wouldn't clip the hurdle or fall. You know, so it's, and then also I just think maybe on the commercial side, you know, that the marketability is more commercialized. Hopefully equal opportunity for endorsements, you know, because everybody think you win a gold medal or you get a whole lot. No, it's just a small pool of people that might get, you know, endorsements. Yeah, so.
Well, I want to take a moment here to see if we've got some questions from the audience before I take up all the time. So we've got some people roving around with microphones. So if you'd like to ask a question to Jackie, just go ahead and raise your hand, and a microphone will find you.
Ms. Joyner-Kersee, it's such an honor to see you. I'm also a runner, and so I've watched you when you were, you know, in the Olympics, and you're truly an inspiration. My question is, for athletes, and particularly at your level, there's often a lot of pressure internally that you put on yourself to succeed and perform. At the same time, there's a lot of external pressure that you get from the expectations. I'm just wondering how you deal with that or dealt with that, and what your strategies were.
So a lot of times when you're training, you don't really realize you're under a lot of pressure, because when you're in it. And our philosophy was always focus on the things we can control and don't worry about the things you cannot. And my husband coached me, and he would always put us in stressful situations, and how we were able to adapt and adjust, or not look for the perfect plan, you know, because everything is not going to go according to the plan. You might want it to go that way. But then also the pressures of competing on American soil and really, really educating your family that, okay, now, I ain't got time to be going to dinner with you. I got to do this, because they don't understand. They think that, oh, we got time, we could do, no, you can't, and then also the expectations. I never let the expectations of others, outweigh the expectation I had for myself. And to know that every time I stepped on the track, I gave it all I had to give. And I could walk away if I did well or not, knowing that I gave my all.
Cameron, I think we had a question in the front here.
First of all, thank you so much for joining us this evening. It is quite a pleasure to meet you. Thank you. My question is, so with the exception of the time and resources and just your efforts to put forth what it takes to be a champion, who in your life was most influential in allowing you and giving you the opportunity to be the person that you are?
Oh, the most influential person in my life was my mom, and my dad too, because my dad did athletics. My mother was like, you're going to get a job in education. She didn't know anything about me running around the track, And so my dad, on the other hand, because he knew, he tried to tell my mother it's okay, So I would definitely say, my mother, and my father, because they were teenagers when they had my brother first, and then I was second. They were 14 and 16 at the time. And my mother never, ever gave up. I always said that, the impossible is probable, but you have to be willing to work hard and never let anyone give you anything. You earn it. And so that's why when I would train, no one could outwork me. I would train and train and train. And if I didn't get it, okay, that doesn't mean that it's never going to happen. But I would always put in the work. And even when they would say I was the greatest, I always went to the track being coachable. Always, like this, what I did yesterday doesn't matter, because someone's out there is going to be nipping at my heels. So I don't have time to get complacent, focus on what I need to do. So my mother, as far as never giving up, always fighting, always trying to find a way. When others say that it's impossible, I always have a glimmer of hope that you can do it or you can make a difference.
Who else would like to ask a question? Oh, right here, okay. Up front.
Where do you keep your medals?
They're so old, I keep them, they're just in a nightstand. But I do appreciate them, but.
Hello. So we spend a lot of time with our friends here at Cornerstone talking about retirement, planning for retirement, and getting ourselves prepared for that next chapter. What's that like as an athlete, kind of retiring from that profession and moving on to the next chapter in your life?
So for me, it was a part of the process of knowing that the end will come. So throughout my journey and all the other things that I had in my mind that I wanted to do, it started with just developing relationships and making sure that I continue to stay engaged while I'm thinking about once I leave the sport. So I was competing during a time where others might thought that it was really, it was great, but they really didn't have appreciation for the time when me and Florence and a lot of us were competing. So your mind was always thinking about what else you're going to be doing. So I always knew that I was going to build a community center. I always knew I was going to go back home. It was very important for me not to stay in LA, but to be on the streets of where I grew up if I was going to have impact. and be able to connect. And so that was always a part of my journey. And when the time of me being away from the track took away from me preparing to be ready to compete, I knew in my heart that it was time for me to leave the sport, because I trained to be the best. I didn't train for second best. I wanted to give myself the best chance possible. And so if I know that I'm somewhere and someone I'm going against their training, you know, again, that's the pressure. You're thinking about it, you know. So to me, it's a part of the journey, and knowing the plan and being realistic, you know, and no matter how people say, oh, yeah, you can get out there and compete. No, I trained really hard. I gave all I had to give. I ain't trying to get back out there. You know, I don't want to run no marathons. I don't want to do any of that. You know, so the transition for me, you know, it was always a part of our conversation within our group and what we were going to do next.
Other questions from the audience?
Thank you so much. Such an honor. What would 50-something Jackie tell, I'm going to guess, this little girl that asked about your medals, what would you tell Jackie at that age if you could go back and tell her something?
You know, what I would tell her is that never doubt yourself, live life to the fullest, enjoy what you're doing, have fun, and never give up on yourself, because you can turn a doubter into a believer as long as you believe.
Any other questions from the audience? Oh, another one there.
What was it like when you first stepped out onto the Olympic stage?
What was it like? Oh, it was nerve-wracking, you know. Oh, gosh. I love having the butterflies, because having the butterflies helped me to stay focused. And so my first entrance into the Olympics was '84. And again, I had the injury, and I wasn't able to go to the opening ceremonies, as far as walking in the opening ceremonies. And I went as a spectator. And then when I saw all these people, I realized, like, whoa, this is the Olympics, you know, because I just wanted to get on TV, that's all. You know, I didn't know. It's like, whoa. And then to be in the stadium, and it's just unbelievable. I mean, it's just a feeling of, for me, more of a gratitude, you know, and I always think about the people who helped me to get there, you know, and to be able to perform at that level, you know, and to know that you executed and you got the job done, even though I missed the first 5 points, because I wasn't mentally tough, you know. I was focusing on something I should have been focusing on, my leg, and my leg was ready to go. But it's really a great feeling. And then to stand on top of the podium and to hear the national anthem, and athletes, we're going to be so tough, and, you know, then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm not going to cry, and all these tears just coming down, you know. So it's just really incredible feeling, yes.
Well, so I'm interested in, you've got great success in sports, but you've also had a lot of success with your foundation and your charitable work, and I'm interested in the fulfillment that you get from those two parts of your life, the sports and the foundation work. Tell me about how that fulfillment is different, and maybe if one is more meaningful than the other.
Yes, I always believe that the work that I wanted to do outside of my sport was more important, and for the reason the people who came into my life, or the people who helped me to really understand what it meant to be a volunteer, you know, to be able to give of your time, You don't have to have, you think you have to have all these resources, but you don't need resources just to go and spend time with someone. And that's what people did for me. And so to be in a position to walk through the doors and, I call them tiny tots, and they want to hug you, and it was so tough when we were going through virtual, and I'm like, well, we got to do a virtual hug. And they're like, well, what's that, Miss Jackie? What's a virtual hug? And so it's just fulfilling on so many levels.
Good. Any other questions from the audience? Oh, we've got a couple still. We got time for maybe one more, I think.
I might say this wrong, I don't mean to offend anyone, but what's your opinion of cross-gender competition?
That question comes up a lot, and it's really tough because I talked to some of the athletes that are competing today, and they just wanted to, fair is not the right word, but you want to be fair to those individuals who are transgender, and then you also want to be fair to the athletes that are competing. And so if you saw in Olympic Games, I can't remember what country, but she probably would break Flojo's world record at 18 years of age, running 21:87 already. So I feel that besides looking at sports, my opinion is that no one should be denied an opportunity. Everyone should be given an opportunity.
Well, I think we're just about out of time. Thanks. Oh, okay, one last question. One last one.
I just want to know, in all of your endeavors now, all of your community give back, do you have a special niche of, you mentioned being coachable, that's an aspect of you, of giving that aspect to women, or young women growing up. Do you have a special niche that you focus on right now?
It's not that it's a special niche. I think through our Winning in Life, the curriculum that's based off the 14 different principles, and I have been doing this for almost 30 years, and so a young lady by the name of Dr. Amanda Stanix took what was in between my ears and put it into evidence-based and made it a curriculum, and so all our students go through it, and we have been able to do it throughout our community, but then also been able to go into Camden, New Jersey, and Coatesville, Pennsylvania, launching it. And so it's my hope that we can have people focus on the winning part, but it's really not about the winning. It's really trying to develop some incredible human beings who would become winners in whatever endeavor they pursue.
Well, thank you, Jackie. And one final comment, maybe. Can you tell everyone what your experience has been with the Boys and Girls Club?
Yes, so when I was coming up, it was just Boys Club. And so O.C. Hughes was the executive director, and it's one thing about in sports, it doesn't matter, boy or girl, your friends just select you. I want you on my team. And because it was just Boys Club, so I'm always on the outside looking through the window, and then he said, just come on in. And so from there, I was part of the family, and I was inducted in 1999 into the Hall of Fame of the Boys and Girls Club. I've been an ambassador for them. I believe in the mission, I believe in the work, and we need many, 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 many Boys and Girls Club all across this nation, and, if not the world.
That's true. That's true. Well, thank you so much, Jackie, for being here tonight. Matt, come on up, and you can tell everyone what's next.
Thank you.
This one. Hey, I found a mic that works. Hope everyone had a good night. I was going to send my son up here to speak. I just asked him a minute ago if he wanted to. My kids are here tonight, and he said, yeah, let me ask Mom. So, and I said I was joking, but I figured if he actually came up here, you'd probably fire me and hire him. So he's a little cuter at age 6 than I am. So, well, thank you all for coming tonight. We really appreciate, as Matt said, your trust in us and our team. It's so exciting to partner with Boys and Girls Club. I think it's 7 or 8 years now. We've helped them raise a lot of money, both at our event and tomorrow night's event. That's the reason we get these great speakers, is because of our sponsorship at the Boys and Girls Club Dinner with Friends event, which will be held tomorrow night and has about 500 people attending that event, big corporate sponsorships. And so that will be fun. I don't know how they're going to do that logistically. Hopefully you enjoyed our little lunch boxes and all that to try to be COVID safe. Yeah. So once again, just to speak a little bit about Boys and Girls Club, many of you know I've been on the board for 6 or 7 years. Much like Jackie said tonight, we think it's an awesome organization. From being on the board, I know the money is well spent. Once again this year, we're going to offer a match to our clients of up to $15,000 of your contribution. So if anyone feels like they want to give, they can, but this is not a fundraiser, so you don't have to. So if you'd like to, just know it'll be matched. There's envelopes on the table, but we never want to put pressure on our clients. We just want you to know it's an opportunity, and we know it's well spent if you do. So a couple final items. Jackie's willing to take pictures with you all tonight, so we're going to do them with a javelin there. Don't stab yourself. Be careful, everybody. Seriously, if you've drank too much, don't go up there. So we're going to use that kind of in between people to socially distance a little bit, and see, you can see her up there figuring out how this is going to work. I don't think we're doing autographs tonight, but feel free to come up and do pictures. We can either use your camera, or Anna has her own camera, and we'll email them to you if you prefer a better camera. I think that's really everything I have for tonight, so I hope you guys enjoy your evening. Thank you so much for coming out. Appreciate it.